Interesting speaker of today's event, Mr. R. Pattabhiraman. I'm very happy to introduce him because after seeing his profile only, I come to know that we have a very strong connection with the BSNL because one of my sisters, she worked in BSNL and got VRS recently. She was sent, the entire BSNL staff in Trichy, they were sent. So in that way, I'm very emotionally connected with BSNL and happy to know that Mr. Pattabhiraman is a retired BSNL officer, having experience of 40 years trade union life, founder of TTUC, a trade union council of 50 trade unions from college teachers to municipal workers. It's very interesting to note that. He was the ex-state secretary of NETF, BSNL, a trade union dedicated to the welfare of the BSNL employees. Some of the books that he has authored, all the books are in Tamil. Gandhiyai Kandunardal, Tholar Gandhi, Mahatmavin Socialisa Urayadalgal, Navina Indiavin Panmuga Kuralgal, Periyarin Poduvudamai Puridal, Nehruvin Menmai, Ambedkarum Communismum, Bhagavad Gita Panmuga Kuralgal, Trade Justice in Telecom, Selected Ideas of O.P. Gupta. These are all some of his books and writings. On behalf of the organizer, I warmly welcome you, sir. Hope that you have the session with 45 minutes. Then after that, there will be question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Whether it's hearing, we are getting. Acha, very nice. So almost all the social work students are here. Thank you all for inviting me for this greatest occasion to give a few words about the topic given to me. Before going to the topic, can we interact? Can you have some questions on me? Can you throw some questions to me regarding the subject so that I can be able to understand in which way I can cover? Any idea? No idea. I am too far away from you, it seems so. No, I am too far away from you, it seems so. I am not comfortable here. No, shall I stand here or no? I have to go there. No problem. Even this is also a distance. So proximity only the thing, because Gandhi is more dialogic than all of us. No problem. I'm just. So this topic is Gandhi and other ideologies. So any idea about what is ideology? Is there any idea? Why we are killing you on the afternoon? Like this. Okay, good. So ideology is nothing but a belief system. You are having your own belief. The family, the domestic affair also, your parents will teach you something. Your school also teaching something. The expertise also coming and teaching something to you. There is a belief system in every home, every village, every society, every politics, everywhere. If belief system grips you, then it becomes a material force. It makes you to act. Then you form your own group, or you will be formed by a group. Then that group immediately start giving action to that. It will draft a beautiful program for you. This is the future for you. This is the goal. This is the destination you have to go. For that destination, you have to act in this way, like that. So, belief system, they will show you a rosy picture about the future. They will give you a draft for that. Then they will give you an action-oriented program for this also. So, this is the inertial, what is ideology. So, ideology is nothing but having the meaning for all these things. This is the one thing. So, let us talk about Gandhi and other ideologies. Now, Gandhi is coming. What are the other ideologies? Those who have interfaced with him during his time. Which ideologies troubled him or troubled by him in the pre-independence period, and also in today's life of you also. That only I want to cover within this short period, because I don't want to take it a wide canvas and going beyond that. Okay, it's okay or comfortable, or shall I have to go to Tamil and English? Huh? Tamil and English. Okay. ஐடியாலஜி என்பது வேற ஒன்றும் இல்லை. அது ஐடியாலஜி என்பது உங்களுடைய நம்பிக்கைக்கான ஒரு விஷயம். அதுக்கு ஒரு ஆக்ஷன் ப்ரோக்ராம் இருக்கும். அதில் ஒரு எதிர்காலத்துக்கான ரோசி பிக்சர் காட்டப்படும். அந்த ரோசி பிக்சர் நோக்கி பார்கெனிங் பண்ணுவதற்காக நீங்கள் ஒரு சொசைட்டியாக, ஒரு குரூப்பாக, ஒரு ஆர்கனைசேஷனாக நீங்கள் மாற்றப்படுவீங்க. இண்டிவிஜுவல் பிகம்ஸ் அன் ஆர்கனைசேஷன். ஆர்கனைசேஷன் தவிர இண்டிவிஜுவலுக்கான நலன் என்பது அதில் எதுவும் இருக்காது. எக்ஸப்ட் ஆர்கனைசேஷன் வெல்ஃபேர், individual will be simply imbibed with the organization itself. That is the only idea of ideology. Then I just come to Gandhi. Simple word, to understand Gandhi in a simple word for this ideological framework. According to Gandhi, none is low, none is high. A simple form. This is the best framework. On this framework only, equality framework only, he started working. That is his belief system. He is also having some ideology, but he never told to anybody that I am an ideologue. He conducted every experiment by his own testing. சொந்த வழிமுறை மூலமாக தானே சோதித்து வந்தடைந்த அனுபவங்கள் அடிப்படையில் தான் அவர் தரார் எல்லாத்தையுமே. So this is the way of telling things. There is no vanguard theory for him. Somebody will come and take you there. They will tell that, they will preach you something, and then they will tell you that this is the heaven. Let us go and catch that heaven, or let us go and take that domain. Like that, they will not tell. He will tell, I am choosing, I am conducting, I am self-experimenting, I am self-introspecting, I am self-questioning. After that infliction, I am coming to this. If it is good, okay, you also choose it. So this is the way of conducting things by the Gandhi. This is the only thing. None is high, none is low. None is high, none is low. But something is given to you. Whether it is in the given domain of society, whether this none is low, none is high is operative. No. In the physical appearance, I may be short, somebody may be tall. In physical appearance, somebody may be good in looking, somebody may be according to our taste, somebody may be in appearance, we seem them ugly. This is outward appearance. Also, in society, there are a lot of things. Somebody is calling you, you are belonging to this caste. Somebody is telling you, you belong to this religion. Somebody is telling you, you belong to this class, working class, capitalist class, this jati, that jati, this religion, that religion. So, our dialogue becomes religion-oriented. Our dialogue becomes jati-oriented. Our dialogue becomes caste, that is class-oriented. இந்த மூணு விஷயங்கள், வர்க்கம், ஜாதி, மதம், இந்த மூணு உரையாடலுக்குமான ரெப்ரசன்டேட்டிவோட அவர் சந்திச்சார் அவர் காலத்தில். இன்னைக்கு அது இருக்கு. ஈவன் டுடே these three major articulations are going on in the society. Three greatest articulations are going in the society that divides people into compartmentalization. I belong to this caste, you belong to that caste. I belong to this religion, you belong to that religion. So, for Gandhi, everything is integrated. You know that. Everything is integrated. Nothing is divisible. Freedom is indivisible for him. Freedom is freedom to me, freedom not for you. It's not agreeable to him. Freedom to all, that is his position. But what is given to you in a particular context? Somebody is having freedom to exploit this world. Somebody can get rich quicker by corporate methods or by any other methods. Somebody loot your land. Somebody loot everything, the natural resources. All these things are there. So certain questions are before us. Something is given to you which is not correct. So Gandhi is saying that something is given to you. If it is agreeable, go with that, because it is your tradition. If it is not agreeable to you, fight it out. Fight in such a way that nobody should be hurt, either by deed or in words or physical injury, something like that. So he chooses non-violence movement. So something is given, that is not good, because we are divided. We are divided in such a way that I cannot touch you, you cannot touch me. I cannot talk to you, you cannot talk to me. For Gandhi, if two faces are there, then they should talk each other. That is Gandhi. If two faces are there, they should talk each other. If there is one religion here, one face is there, another religion here, they will not talk here. Only quarrelsome. Only they say that this fellow will spoil my life. I will say that that fellow will spoil my life. So this is the dialogue going on here. So there Gandhi is coming. This is one. Another method of Gandhi is self-transforming, self-organizing democracy. Unless you organize, for him, government is not supreme, individual is supreme for him. Whether it's okay for you or I'm coming to you or no problem. Can you able to get me or? Achha. So for Gandhi, government is not supreme. Because he always felt that every state has its own violent apparatus. It has its own military form. It has its own police form. It is inherently violent. It is inherently violent. That apparatus is oppressor apparatus that will kill people, that will not inquire anybody, that will take you to anywhere and put you in the prison without telling you the reason even. So that is the idea of state. So for him, self-government is the most important thing. If you are able to rule yourself, self-rule, if you are able to rule yourself in such a way that, yes, I have my own moral campus. I have my own morality. I have my own ethics. I will not deviate from ethics. I will not deviate from moral in my action, in my contact, in my character, in my sayings, in my thinking, in my thought process, in everything. So this is the basic idea of Gandhi. So you want to integrate everybody. You want to conciliate with everybody. That's the most important aspect. Conciliation is the character of Gandhi. Suppose somebody is excluding themselves. Then you want to integrate them. That's the most important idea of Gandhi. So how Gandhi is interfacing with other ideas. I just take some names. I don't want to, definitely it will not be any disrespect to anybody. You kindly, because this is a forewarning I want to tell, because when I call people, then it should not be misconstrued. நான் சில பேர் பேரை சொல்லுவேன். அப்படி சொல்றதுனால யாரையும் மரியாதை குறைவாக நடக்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. We respect everybody, every leader in every aspect, every shade. But we are telling to the extent what we know from the facts. Number one, I will take the name of Jinnah. I will take the name of Sri Savarkar. I will take the name of Bhimrao Dr. Ambedkar. We can even add then some friends from socialist friends, some communist friends. I don't want to take the name for them. but we can take the names even also, M.N. Roy or E.M.S. Namboodiripad, all those names also there. So these leaders are having their own domain of work. They never get a charm from Gandhi. Of course, E.M.S., M.N. Roy is something different. Ambedkar is always critical of Gandhi. Jinnah, doubly critical of Gandhi. Savarkar, you will not even face together. So this is the complex situation in the pre-independence period. They never get the charm from the Gandhi. They will always say that this is the charge sheet for you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. So how Gandhi interact with them, whether Gandhi is able to conciliate with them, whether Gandhi is able to bring some agreement with them, this is the point I want to just tell you, 1 or 2 points. Take number Jinnah. Before Jinnah, the Muslim League is formed in 1906. I don't want to give you much statistics. I'm just simply telling what is that? Some lines, outlines. You can refer certain books and read if you have more interest on this subject. So 1906, Muslim League is formed. In the other area, Hindu Mahasabha also formed. Gandhi is here. Indian National Congress is there. Everybody is there. So Jinnah, before Jinnah, there are better leaders also in the Muslim League. Better leaders also in the having Islamic convention, Islamic conceptions, Islamic faith. Nobody is telling about Hakim today. Nobody is telling about M.A. Ansari today. Nobody is telling about Abul Kalam Azad today. They themselves calling themselves as national Muslims. There are certain people, national Muslims. There are certain other people who want to go away from India by partition. They want to create their own state. So that is another idea. I'm just coming within 1 or 2 minutes. The Hakim, if you have a chance, you can verify through Google. Hakim issued a manifesto with Ansari in 1922. They said that Hindus, Muslims are brothers of living in India. In thousands of years, living together. They are having their common civil ideas, common civil desires, common economic desires. Let the religious act is something different. Religious faith and national faith is compatible. They can travel together. They need not antagonize each other. They can travel together. See, compatibility of national faith and religious faith is the theory of Hakim, then M.J. Ansari, Abul Kalam. Abul Kalam becomes the president of even Indian National Congress in 1940s. So these are the people earlier to Jinnah worked for the Hindu-Muslim unity. Even you know that certain two names, there are very serious vociferous speakers on those days. One is Muhammad Ali, another is Shaukat Ali. Very vociferous on those days. They shared dice with Gandhiji. They traveled together throughout India for the Khilafat movement. But Khilafat is not of good taste to Jinnah. Khilafat is also not good taste for many people in India. Why Jinnah, Savarkar is also opposed it. Why for a caliphate of Turkey, Gandhi is taking issue here, whether the kingdom is there or not. Why Gandhi is worrying about that? Like that, many criticized him, Gandhi. So during the Khilafat movement, he wants to try to build a Hindu-Muslim unity. That's the basic idea with the non-cooperation. So that process actually going with the Hindu-Muslim unity, with Hindu-Muslim unity, mobilizing people of India throughout various shades for the non-cooperation, for the civil disobedience, all those movements are there. So this is one aspect of that. Where Jinnah is coming. So this is going on everywhere. Jinnah is actually initially a person told by Sarojini Naidu Sarojini Devi Naidu that Islam Muslim Gokhale. Jinnah was our Muslim Gokhale. He is the best patriot from the Muslim League. Like that only Sarojini Devi Naidu once told him. Then after that, he was the secretary speechwriter for our grand old man, Dadabhai Naoroji. He was the speechwriter for him for the Calcutta conference, where the first slogan of Swaraj is given officially in the dais. 1906 only official Swaraj slogan was given the dais, from the dais. The slogan was given by Naoroji. The speechwriter was Jinnah. So these are the very interrelated things, very minute nuances we have to imbibe if you want to learn the history in a good sense. So only I am just telling that. Suppose say, if 25 minutes, 30 minutes, somebody can like that. Because I am also aged now, na? Speaking is interesting thing to me. But hearing is getting bored. There should not be any dialectics between you and hearer, speaker and hearer. There should be some dialectics. Otherwise, speaker will go on speaking something. See, there should be some dialectics. I should interact with you, at least with your mind, with your heart, with your full cooperation only. So these are the things of even speaking art. So you know that. I don't want to joke. I want to be very serious speaker only. I don't want to go any jokes and other things. Number one. Number two, Jinnah actually was advocate to Tilak also for his sedition trial. You know sedition. If I talk something about our big fellows today, then I will become automatically taken by the cops are here. No problem. So if cops are here, then I will be immediately taken away from this. My mic will be snatched. So this is the sedition trial for Jinnah, for sedition trial. Tilak, Jinnah appeared. But where the problem cropped up? Where the problem started? See, even calling Gandhi becomes a problem. So actually I just quote two experiments on this. Once Jinnah called in a big conference, Mr. Gandhi. But everybody is calling Mahatma Gandhi. Definitely Gandhi would not have objected it. Definitely, what is that? I am calling Gandhi only Todar Gandhi. I am just simply calling Todar Gandhi. That is comfortable to me. I am calling him. He will definitely pardon me if he was here. So like that, Jinnah called Mr. Gandhi. Somebody from the audience side heckled him. So he got upset, number one. So I just say, in connection with this, Ambedkar was in London. BBC is having interview with him after Mahatma's death in 50s, I think, in 50s. He was at London. Somebody is asking, the interviewer is asking him, what is the tussle between you and Mahatma? Ambedkar is replying like this. I never called him as Mahatma. He is a politician. I call him only Gandhi. So calling itself, see, I am Pattabhi Raman. Call me as Pattabhi Raman, that's all, simple. Isn't that so? Like that. Even calling itself becomes a politics or becomes a matter of criticism in this country. We have to understand this point. So, okay, I don't want to sidetrack that. Then about Jinnah. Second thing is, when Gandhi came from South Africa to India, a very good welcome reception meeting was arranged by the Gujarati and Bombay Walas. Jinnah addressed there in English, like me. It should be unfair for me to address the English also, because but many shades of people are here, many belonging to many states. So Gandhi told him that, please address in Gujarati. People are in Gujarati, people are here. I am going to talk to you in Gujarati, so you will talk in Gujarati. Normally Gandhi also wrote to sister of Jinnah, please tutor him to talk in Gujarati. So these are some complex issues. So something you are telling that when I act something, if you say something, then I will hurt. No, these are small things becoming a big matter. Not a small thing, little things becoming a harder things tomorrow. So like that only. Next one is 1920, when Gandhi announced civil disobedience, everything. Jinnah was opposing all those things. Khilafat, he opposed that. You know that there was one famous Nehru report, 1928 Nehru report. When British people in the parliament spoke that whether Indians having guts to write their own constitution. This was the question thrown in the British parliament by the British MPs. Then Motilal Nehru, on hearing that speech from the parliament of England, he took that mantle and took that challenge. Yes, we get up our line and fight for this. We write our own manifesto, we write our own constitution. Indians having that guts, Indians having that mettle, Indians having their own ideas, then we can definitely write a better constitution than British people, because we know our people, we are our people. So that understanding came, all party meeting was held, and then 1925 they drafted a constitution. That was not accepted, that is entirely different. Many things have taken, that is different. In that conference, there was a bitter fight between Jinnah and Motilal and others also. Jinnah demanded, if central parliament is there, then we need 1/3 quota. Now we are demanding for women 1/3 quota. Na? We are demanding that. Now earlier, Jinnah demanded that wherever Muslims are there, we need 1/3 quota. Then Motilal, you please settle with 25%. Then Jinnah made a walkout. After that, he never came back to Congress. Then he has gone to that round table conference, 1930-31, 30-31-32, round table conference. In the round table conference, he was not a master. Aga Khan is the master. Please understand this point. So this will help you to read further, because a lot of controversy is going on this subject. In the RTC, there was Muslim people, there was Anglo-Indians, there was British Christians, then Sikhs, Parsis, and SC/ST minority. They called depressed class, representing by Ambedkar and others. So these are the people actually attended the RTC, that is round table conference. In the round table conference, there was a big tussle on one particular subject. Whether all the people who are qualified to vote in India, that is not universal franchise. That is not universal franchise. Now you are 18, you are having vote to decide whom you want to represent yourself. In those periods, those who are having assets, those who are having education qualifications, they are only having that power to enroll themselves as electorate. That was the idea earlier. In that, இது புரியுதுங்களா? பணம் இருந்தாதான், சொத்து இருந்தாதான், படிப்பு இருந்தாதான் எலக்டோரலாக வர முடியும். அதாவது நீங்க வாக்களிக்கவே வர முடியும். Then there was 30 crores people. Only 11 million people only got votes. For this 11 millions, there were a lot of tussle, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, tussle going on the RTC by the various leaders. Then Aga Gandhi actually gone there, the second RTC. Viceroy told him that 16 people can go on behalf of Congress, but Gandhi only was sent. That means he is having the power of 16 delegates. That is, he is having the power of 16 delegates. Cumulative accumulation of power of all the delegates. He is going there. Then Sarojini going there on behalf of Magila. Then another lady, of course very popular, she was during that time, Radhabai Subbarayan, who was the chief minister. Because of chief ministership, he sent her wife also to the RTC. Radhabai gone there. Why I mention Radhabai here is the most important thing. Radhabai only told that at least 5% representative for women should be given. Now today we are asking about 33%. So where it germinated, I want to tell you that point. Actually it was germinated by Radhabai, which was a demand in the round table conference by Radhabai, one of the Magila representative. She told that if 5% given to Indian women, that is good for us. So like that is going on. Number one. So Dalit people are asking that. Dalit people, I am just telling the depressed people. They are asking that we should be made political minority. This is the concept. This is the problem coming there. So I will just finish it off Jinnah and then come to Ambedkar, and Savarkar and then come to Ambedkar. I will just stop here. Then Jinnah started, after all these things, Jinnah took a sabbatical leave for 3 years from the politics, 1931, 34, 35, like that. After Government of India Act 1935, he returned back to India, met Iqbal, you know the famous poet Iqbal. What is the poem? Zare Jagan Satcha. So that gentleman only, that gentleman actually wrote a very beautiful speech, which was written speech, The Final Destiny. The final destiny for India, for Muslims of India is form a separate statehood for you. But he never mentioned Bengal. He mentioned only the west area, that is northwest frontier, Sindh, Balochistan, etc. That was the final destiny speech which enthralled many people, many active youngsters among the Muslims. The another gentleman from the Cambridge University, his name is Chowdhury. That gentleman drafted a plan for Pakistan. That was in 1933. Then Jinnah came here. 1940, Jinnah, Lahore Resolution, Pakistan Resolution came. So for that he is building a manifesto, he is building all those things. Now belief system has come. Belief system has come. Muslims should have a separate statehood. Religious faith should have a separate statehood. We cannot live here. Then he started telling that, Jinnah started telling that. From the British imperialists to Hindu imperialists, we do not allow. We will not allow British Raj to Hindu Raj. We should not allow. That is the thing Jinnah started telling. Then there is a problem. Then he drafted the Pakistan issue. I don't want to go, I don't want to take much of your time. It seems that you are all in IXM. So, then two-nation theory comes. Muslim is one nation and Hindu is another nation. Then Gandhi questioned him. Suppose say, before British, 1,000 years in some name, Islam rule was there. After British arrival, two-nation theory came, or before that it came. Simple question. Whether after 1600 East India Company entered here, after 1858, Victoria took over the regime of India, whether that two-nation theory cropped up or even before that. This was a question, counter question posed by Gandhi. So he told Jinnah, let us not be Nehru. You, Jinnah, be the Prime Minister of India. Let there be only one nation. That is our nation. Let us call it India. Let it not be Pakistan or Hindustan. Let it be India. You be the Prime Minister. You form your cabinet. You do the regime. That is the idea given by Gandhi, but his conciliation was filed. Unfortunately, that partition took place. This is one interface of ideology Gandhi made, and he couldn't clinch it. It was filed. Everybody was filed on that. Not only Gandhi, everybody who tried for that filed. But Jinnah won the case. But what is today Pakistan? You all know that. I don't want to go and unnecessarily harang on this. Okay, number one. Number two, I'll come to Savarkar. A little bit cautious also. I want to be a little bit conscious. I don't want to give any suspicion to you. I am belonging to some shade or something like that. I just want to share you fact only, what I know the fact. Number one, Savarkar himself is a great patriot before 1922, all those things. Nothing to hide. He was really a man at London House, where Shyamji Krishna, you have to know the very, very famous people who toiled for us all in various places. India House, Gandhi met him. Gandhi wrote Hindu Raj, criticizing Western religion, Western civilization, criticizing industrialization, criticizing the parliament of how the parliament of British is running. Like that, Hindu Raj, you can read it. Very small book only, you can all read it. Then during that time, Savarkar wrote 1857 first Indian independence war. That was, previously it was told Sepoy Mutiny. Then Savarkar named it 1857 Indian First World War, First Independence War. That was 1857 war. He wants to kindle the feelings of militaristic India. That is the only idea. If you show me some time or anything, nothing. No. What's the time going on? 5 minutes for 4. When I have to complete? 10 minutes. Okay, right. So Savarkar is actually doing that. Then Madan, you know that he was involved in some assassination cases at England itself. Madan Lal Dhingra, you know, all those history you just go through. Very, very, very important, very live issue like, what is that? If you want to understand India, you have to understand all these things properly. So, he was, in the assassination case, he was put into trial. Then he wanted to escape. Then he brought to the British to the Bombay, sent to the Andaman jail. From Andaman jail, he suffered and then returned back after mercy petition, returned back, nothing wrong in it. After that, he came back, settled at Ratnagiri, his own native place. And 12 years he was given, he should not go out. Then during that time, he wrote one very important thesis, which is the thesis for the present day government, which is the thesis for the Hindu Mahasabha, which is the thesis for the RSS. If I call the name, don't upset. So that is what is known as Hindutva. He just told that if anybody wants to live in India, they should have two conditions. One, they should own it as fatherland. They should own it as holy land. Pitrabhum, Punyabhum. So these are the two slogans he has given. Everybody is one race. Even Dravida is one race. No Aryan Dravida race. Everybody is Indian. One race only. All our bloods are one. No problem at all. Then you have to adhere this point. You should pray here only. Your God should be here only. There should not be any holy place either out of this territorial area. This is what is known as territorial nationalism, religious nationalism, Hindu nationalism, political nationalism, or you call whatever name is. So these are the things going on. After 1937, he became the Hindu Mahasabha. These are the ideas. Number one, Gandhi is teaching you non-violence. This is nonsense, number one. Second is, he is telling that Ahimsa, it makes you sick. It makes the country disease-fed country. So this is number two. Number three, bring military education to every school. Rekindle the feelings of militaristic India. Spinning wheel spiritualism is nonsense. All these things he spoke. Spirituality is of course, is also atheist, is somewhere that. These are the main area. Then Gandhi told that. My religion is something different. My religion is inclusive. My religion is good, okay. At the same time, my other religion is also good to me. I can read Gita, I can read Quran, the same sense, the same fatigue, the same, with the same with same enthusiasm, I can read that. All religions are good. All religions have errors also. This is Gandhi told. So these are the ideas that Gandhi is inclusive nationalism. He is for India. He is not for Hindu, something like that. Hindu Raj, something like that. So these are the controversies going on. Because you just carry on, I just give you an outline only. The second one. Second one is about Ambedkar. And the next one is Ambedkar. Ambedkar is based on his ideas. Political minority right for SC/STs. This is the basic idea of him. He wants to take everything through constitutional ways. And then he tried his best for reservation of our people. Then you know that he got an award from the Ramsay MacDonald in the British Parliament. That paper is called, Communal Award. Communal Award, 1932 Pune Pact, all those ideas we are having. So that paper is called communal. Actually, the British Parliament, they call it Communal Decision Command Paper. Communal Decision Command Paper 4447. You can just note it and then you can search it in the fully. Communal Decision Command Paper 4447. That was the name, originally name given to that. Now it's popularly called as communal award. That communal award, Pune Pact, all those things you just go through. What is the problem there? Gandhi told that have joint electorates. This was the decision of the Congress Working Committee. So I came here as a representative of Congress Working Committee, so I want to push that only. It's possible, not possible to do other things. All the minorities jointly, Khan, Ambedkar, then one Henry from the Anglo-Indian side, all other jointly signed a memorandum. Islam, Sikh, Anglo-Indian, all religious minorities, with the political minority, Ambedkar jointly signed a memorandum, give it to Ramsay MacDonald. The Ramsay MacDonald given the award. Ambedkar got 5% only what he demanded from the British. After Gandhi's fast against the separate electorates of SC/STs, Ambedkar got 71 to 148, that doubled. Where British failed to give only 5%, where Gandhi's settlement was 10%, which is double the settlement. So this point already is not given. So you know that you have to go through the see Ambedkar's famous book. On 3 occasions they confront each other. One is Pune Pact occasion. Second is annihilation of caste. You kindly go through. I don't want to elaborate here because there is no time and time also. Also the mood is also, I cannot gain your mood also. So annihilation of caste. That is the most important book. You go through. Lot of discussions going on between Ambedkar and Gandhi in that. You go through that. Very valuable book. And then 1946, Gandhi and Congress, what they did to untouchables. You read this also from Ambedkar. You read the counter also from the K. Sandhanam written. Ambedkar refuted by Rajaji. Ambedkar clarified by K. Sandhanam. All these books you cover. Then you have the understanding. Read one thing, read the counter thing also, and then come to understanding. So Gandhi is, I want to conclude it because I don't want to take much of your time. Gandhi is for conciliation. Gandhi is for self-transformation. Gandhi is for man whose action domain is telling that do everything with the tag of moral. You do anything, but with moral, ethical standard you do it. So none is low, none is high. This perception cannot be automatically come. We have to bring that. For bringing that, non-violence is the only method. For bringing that, only method is personal, egoless, friendly to everybody, taking everybody as brother. Through love, without brute force, you have to carry everybody together. That is the only way. Thank you all. Thank you very much.